Hello there, world of tankers. Welcome to the channel. I'm your host, Droodles Blitz, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about, apparently, me calling every single tank overpowered, and that I should stop doing that, at least according to my comment section. A couple weeks ago, I posted a video on the Grom. This was 4 weeks ago, before the vehicle was released. It was when the statistics were first leaked on Blitzkit. And if you read the comment section of my Grom video 4 weeks ago, the number one liked comment with 84 likes says, "Bro calls every tank OP Lamau." I find that funny too. Lol, it just looks cringe at this point. And then you scroll down further, and there's another one that's the next highest liked in the video. "Every tank is OP according to you." You see more comments like this: "No weak spots, Droodles weeps," forgetting that the tracks are wide open and this thing's booty is like paper thin. So basically this POS is a heavy tank without a turret. It's just very funny that you see all of these people complaining that I call a tank overpowered, saying that I'm over-exaggerating, that I'm in cahoots with wargaming, and then the vehicle gets released, this week. I play in the tank, and out of 30 games, go 90% win rate solo with 3,192 average damage. I guarantee almost every single person watching today's video is not averaging 3,200 damage in tier 10, let alone tier 8. And 90% win rate speaks for itself. This is a tier 8 tank destroyer. I called that this tank was going to be completely overpowered when it was first showcased in its statistics, and everybody just complains that I call it OP. And this isn't the only vehicle, right? I mean, people are complaining I call every tank overpowered. So what other tanks have I called overpowered that I've been scared of? Well, another example is the Błyskawica, right? I said Polish tank destroyers are coming, and they're broken. And again, people in the comment section complained that I called these tanks overpowered, because apparently I call every tank overpowered. And what's funny about these tanks is that, once again, I made a play to lose in these vehicles. And in the 10 or so games that I played in the Błyskawica, which is the tier 10, I averaged 4,500 average damage. And as I said, I only lost like one game. 4,500 average damage, dude. That is absolutely insane. I'm doing crazy good on my main account in this vehicle. 75% win rate, 3,600 average damage. I'm doing absolutely crazy in the Błyskawica. It's not a shock when you release a vehicle that has 400 millimeters of frontal protection, paired with a gun with 4,200 DPM, that it's going to be a dangerous tank. It's just not a shocker to me, not even in the slightest. And that is why, again, you have these Polish tank destroyers that are super, super capable. It's actually a real shock to me that more people aren't trying out the Polish TDs. I mean, sure, the Grom is OP, but it's not just the Grom, it's the whole Polish line. Every single tank from like tier 8 to tier 10 is just incredibly scary. I mean, even the tier 8 Kilana, I'm averaging 2,700 damage in with a 79% win rate. That's pretty dang good when you realize just this is a tech tree, dude, and I'm averaging almost 3k in it. The Gonk, which is the tier 9, I'm averaging 3,200 damage in with a 70% win rate. The whole line is crazy good, and the tier 6 is probably one of the most overpowered vehicles I've seen. And then you have the Type 5 Heavy, which is another tank that I claimed was going to be overpowered. Well, guess what? The Type 5 Heavy is overpowered, giving a super heavy 2,900 hit points and a gun that can roll 800 damage per shot, in my opinion, is pretty dang overpowered. And the fact that it's able to dominate matches in tier 10 is just so cringe. I'm pretty sure most of you have gone up against Type 5 heavies. It's not a fun tank to fight. Now sure, there are noobs that don't know what they're doing, and it's a big punching bag of hit points, but so is the mouse, and I'd much rather fight a mouse any day of the week versus this tank. On my main account, I'm going 80% win rate in this vehicle with around 3,500 average damage, which is pretty crazy if you ask me. I mean, I can actually show that too if I go to Blitz Stars and I type in Poobmaster 9000. You can literally look at the stats. You go to like 30-day tier 10 Japan. There's my Type 5 Heavy, 72%, 3,600. So not as high as I thought on my win rate, but still 72%, 3,600 average damage. That's pretty dang crazy for a super heavy, especially judging that right now we are in a terrible meta for vehicles that are super heavies. The fact that I'm able to average that much. Imagine what happens if Wargaming does finally decide to nerf autoloaders and they nerf vehicles like the E50M and all these incredibly cringe mediums. The vehicles like the Type 5 Heavy are just going to dominate. And it's just another great example of how scary the current meta is, right? Some of the other vehicles I've probably called overpowered. We have the Object Cust, which is a tier 8 auto-reloading tank destroyer. I've ran up against this vehicle a couple times in the game so far, and it's pretty dang stupid. You know, you go to tier 8, you go to Soviet tanks, and here's the Cust. So what does this vehicle have going for it? Well, it has a 480 alpha 3-shell auto-reloader. It can deal 1,440 damage in a clip. Yes, you heard that correct. 1,440 damage with only a 4-second intra clip. So in 8 seconds, this vehicle can kill a full health tier 7 without even loading high explosive. With high explosive, it can deal 2,040 damage. So if you get to the side or rear of any lightly armored vehicles, you can literally full health clip them. This is the only tier 8 in the game that will ever be capable of doing this. And the funny part is that it also has fairly good armor on flat ground. Yeah, it's a pretty easy pen, but this thing uses gun depression, and the upper plate becomes an auto ricochet to any shells unless you're loading gold. And even then, the upper plate with enhanced armor is still upwards of 300 millimeters thick. It's basically a WZ-121 GFT, but just better. I mean, it's not the fastest, but it doesn't really matter when you have such an overpowered gun. Another tank which I've called overpowered is the tier 10 Italian auto-reloading heavy tank, which is currently in testing, the Felice. And I fully believe that the Felice is an overpowered vehicle. You look at the armor profile of this thing, and it is insane. The upper plate is upwards of 380 thick, running enhanced armor. It's upwards of 400 thick. The turret is 442. The weakest point on the turret is 308. And using gun depression, that weakest point turns to 327. It has almost no hatches. It has incredibly good side scraping capabilities, as you can see. Even at this angle, the side armor is still 270 millimeters thick. And then when you pair that with the fact that this vehicle features a 4-shell 440 alpha auto-reloading gun, which has 1,760 clipping potential, and it has a gun depression value of 8 degrees, it's an overpowered tank. It's literally a Caro 45 ton turned into a heavy. Listen, guys, I understand that if Wargaming keeps releasing overpowered tanks, technically, it's the new normal. But that's not really the case, because there's a boatload of tanks which aren't overpowered, which currently exist in the game, which have no way of competing with vehicles like this. I mean, what the heck is a normal single-shot heavy, like a T-110E5 or a 113 supposed to do, when this thing rolls around the corner and starts absolutely nuking it? The problem with the meta in Tier 10 right now, and Tier 9 and Tier 8, is that we have a couple vehicles which are incredibly overpowered, and then the rest of the tanks sit into the strong or super strong category. And don't get me wrong, super strong is still really good, right? There's plenty of tanks which I would put in super strong. I think the E5 I would put there because it's got a great gun. It's got good gun depression. It's got good capabilities. But like, what do you do in this tank the moment a 1,760 alpha clip rolls around the corner with that level of armor? It doesn't matter how strong your tank is. It's just going to fall apart. And that's the problem with the current meta in Blitz. I'm calling tanks overpowered because I see issues that need to be resolved. We don't need autoloaders with 1,800 damage clips rolling into the game. We don't need auto-reloaders at tier 8 dealing 1,500 damage clips. It's not good for the game. That's as simple as it is. And the Grom is another fantastic example. I personally suggested that the vehicle should get nerfed, most likely on its gun handling value, so that it can't just snap shots with 520 alpha and be able to do as much as it can. But guess what? It has gun depression, it has decent mobility, it has crazy armor, and because of that, this is insane. It is by far the best of the Polish tanks. When I make opinions, I just base them off of what I personally experience in the game. And sometimes I call tanks OP, sometimes I don't, right? The WZ-120 GFT, which is currently in testing, I did not call OP. And guess what? It's not. It doesn't look that great to me. So there's plenty of tanks that I don't call the most incredibly strong, but people like to single out the ones that I call OP, and then they get released, and newsflash, they are. So, I don't know. You guys can let me know what you think in the comments, but either way, hopefully enjoy the video, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.